Okay, so let's go in order of who's in here. Let's start with Nancy. You have about 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Laura. My name's Nancy West, and I'm the founder of the New Hampshire Center for Public Interest Journalism, and we publish indepthnh.org. Now, I'm going to give you all a minute to bookmark that on your phone so we count every click. We're new. And I'm running for the executive board at INN because indepthnh.org would not be up and running without INN's assistance. We have gotten so much help over the last year and a half from INN. We have a website because of INN. We have, for the first year and a half before we got our own 501c3 designation, INN helped by fiscally sponsoring us. And over the last year and a half, I've lost track of how many webinars and phone calls and consulting minutes that I've had with INN to learn how to make nonprofit news happen for New Hampshire. Now, the need is incredible here in New Hampshire. We have fewer than half of the news jobs we had 15 years ago. If that isn't scary enough, we also seem to have a lot of inroads happening where we have I'm not sure how to even describe them except for Breitbart-like news outlets and an online presence that is really sending out the signal that they're news. They're not real news. indepthnh.org is real news, but they package it as though it's real news, and it's almost as troubling to me as the reduced number of reporters and the financial hardships that we're still experiencing here in New Hampshire news outlets. We give our stories away because, actually, I don't think anybody could afford to pay for it anyway. We have some of the best reporting in the state. We cover things in depth. One of my stories broke some really new ground as far as the New Hampshire Psychiatric Hospital locking up patients at the New Hampshire State Prison because they just didn't have a facility that was safe for people who were a danger to themselves or others. We're doing a heck of a job. We're new. The reason I think I could be of value on the board of directors is I served for a number of years at the union, on my union, Manchester Newspaper Guild, when I worked at the New Hampshire Union Leader. So I really have a pretty good sense of what a board of directors would be doing because of that experience. And also because I've learned about board of directors because I'm still trying to recruit the very best one that I can find. We have some very good members on our board, and Galloway is one of our members. But we really need to expand, and we've been working on that, and we get help again from Institute for Nonprofit News. What do I think I can add? I think I can add a lot of experience in the news world. indepthnh.org embraces all of the new platforms and new technologies. We see the need for jumping into the future. Actually, I find it kind of fun here in the future. And I think it's really interesting because nobody really knows where we're all going to land. But I think having the Institute for Nonprofit News there to guide us is wonderful. I also love to be part of this because you have all these wonderful big organizations like Texas Tribune, ProPublica, Center for Public Integrity, all these great members, and coupled in with, about 115 other ones that are small like me. So what do I hope to bring to the table? I hope to bring the voice of the small startup nonprofits. Why? Because we certainly need more, not fewer of us. We really need to get the word out to people in New Hampshire and around the country as to what is nonprofit news. I know in New Hampshire, I still give the spiel all the time. I would love to see us do more outreach so that the average citizen, the average news consumer really has a good feeling and understanding for what we do at nonprofit news. And I guess I could boast having the smallest budget, but that doesn't seem like much to brag about. But we would be the voice for the small startup, or not even just a small startup, the small nonprofit news outlet. that's who we are, and we certainly embrace what INN has done. And as far as bringing anything else to the table, I believe in transparency and would like to make sure that all of our members know how much INN is doing for us. And I would like to see more outreach into the community as far as explaining. And now is the time. I mean, people are really interested in what we're doing as far as the nonprofit mission and the nonprofit model. And the other thing is, you know, I got to look at the paper because I forgot what the other thing is.
You have 30 more seconds, Nancy.
Oh, the webinars. I love the training that in-depth that Institute for Nonprofit News does. I would love to see more of that being done, but I guess my strength is just being a voice for the small outlets, and I hope you'll vote for me. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Nancy. Let's do Dylan up next. Dylan, you have 5 minutes.
All right, am I on now? Can you hear me? All right, I'm Dylan Smith. I'm the editor and publisher of TucsonSentinel.com, as most of us are, a nonprofit, somewhat investigative and community news outlet in Tucson, Arizona. I'm also the chairman of local independent online news publishers and a vice president of the Arizona Press Club. So I've got a little bit of an idea about what a board of directors for a journalism organization should be working on. And I think INN the past couple of years has been headed in a really good direction. Things have been quite a bit more stable, quite a bit less dramatic, which is a good thing for an organization. And I would like to see that continue and INN build on its successes and, you know, continue to assist publishers who are just getting rolling and share the best practices between folks who are doing a really amazing job at things and those of us who need to learn a little bit more in certain areas. And I think really even more of that can be done with you know, sharing peer-to-peer learning so that we're all learning from each other as we go. I think sometimes things get a little bit siloed and you know, information doesn't percolate out in perhaps the most instant manner that it could. And really, I'm been doing this since publishing since 2010 and managed to survive in large part because of what INN does as far as their support for publishers, their advocacy for nonprofit news in general at every level. And both of those are very important things. And it's something that I decided to do this. I considered it a couple years in a row and decided to throw my hat into the ring because I want to pay back this community and this organization that has helped me so very, very much. I think that's, you know, time for me to sort of put my shoulder to that wheel and help things along as much as I can. And I would, if you see fit, appreciate your vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dylan. Let's do Sheila up next. And everyone, Sheila's audio is added via phone, but she's got her video enabled. So if you want to do gallery view in the top right corner of the screen, you'll be able to see and hear her at the same time. Sheila, you have 5 minutes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I hope.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Well, thanks so much for this opportunity to speak with you. I am Sheila Krumholz. I'm the director of the Center for Responsive Politics, and we run the website opensecrets.org. And I bring to the potential as a candidate, potential candidate for the board, the experience of running a nonprofit that is geared to journalists and has been around for more than 3 decades and is really organized to support journalists and media outlets of all shapes and sizes. We are a 20-person organization, and I've grown over the last decade as leader of this organization, our staff and our budget to become quite a bit more stable and diversified. And of course, we're continually working on that. But it's been a journey for me, kind of having cut my teeth here at CRP and now as executive director, bringing to this work the exploration of best practices and getting mentorship from all kinds of experts in and outside of journalism to strengthen our board, strengthen our operation, and it continues to be unfolding journey. So I guess as a candidate for the board, I would really seek to represent organizations that are like ours, topically focused, not solely dedicated to breaking or original journalism, but also producing tools, data, expertise, providing commentary to all kinds of stakeholders, not just journalists, but also academics and advocates and policymakers and average citizens. So I feel that I could probably adequately represent that kind of constituency for INN and help INN bring to these new types of media outlets the tangible benefits that they need to be successful. I understand that this is a growth area for INN, and I would hope that I could share my experience leading this organization and with those organizations, with those potential new members, and also with the INN leadership so that and staff, so that together we could work to bring additional tools and resources and understanding of what challenges face groups like ours. Again, CRP has been around for 34 years, and I've been here for many of them, but as executive director for the last decade. And I think that INN is an amazing resource, frankly, one that I have not tapped to its fullest. So I also look forward to leveraging for my own organization and my own growth and knowledge more of INN's resources. We are perhaps in a bit of a different situation because we've been around for so long, but again, we can add to the mix our experience, our history, and my experience with both leading the research operation and working with reporters day in, day out, and now leading the organization. And of course, we continue to work with journalists among many other stakeholders.
30 more seconds, Sheila.
Thank you. So I look forward to helping INN, as with my own organization, with board development, with funding diversification and budget growth, and certainly would also lend my voice to the call for transparency being a fundamental objective for INN and for all of our organizations. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Sheila. Let's do Marcia next. Marcia, just unmute yourself in the bottom left.
Here we
All
are.
right. Yep, you have 5 minutes.
So
Go ahead.
Great. So I'm Marcia Parker. I'm the publisher, relatively new, 4 months into the job at CalMatters, which is a 2-year-old nonprofit that covers and really focuses on state government and public policy. And we really are in a state, as you guys know, with many of you are in states in similar situations where state government coverage has eroded across our state, and in a state that's essentially now not only the resistance state, but one of the looked at and as it's the fifth largest economy in the world, just looking at the size of California. So, we're really dedicated to that. And I joined having come with 25 years of journalism experience, lots of digital startups. I ran the California and Washington State patch sites, the local sites for AOL. I'm a mentor in a bunch of like our media accelerators here in Silicon Valley, et cetera, et cetera. And I joined because I just feel like, and I'm looking at my little notes, that I feel like this is our time. I really believe this is our time for nonprofit journalism. If ever we could succeed for the long run, I think we have our best shot now. And, listening to those of you who have just talked is exactly why I love this organization, because we're big, we're small, we're at various stages in our growth and our development. We have huge challenges, but at the same time, I feel like, a part of America has really come to understand us better and is willing to step up and start to support us. And, I love that we have an organization that, I've known Sue Cross for a long time. I have just so much respect for her. And I believe that INN is really central to our future and to helping America really understand why nonprofit journalism is important to our democracy, that it's not just a lofty set of words that we say, but that we really matter to impacting our local communities, our state communities, our national community. So those are my main kind of reasons for wanting to be part of this. And, I've just been doing this a long time. I feel like I have a lot of experience to bring, particularly around the kind of experience of profit making and startups like Patch, where we had a successful editorial product, but we did not have a successful business model. And now in my capacity, I've been a journalist for 25 plus years, and I feel like now I have an opportunity to try to really create a sustainable future. And so every one of the challenges that I see our INN, my fellow members, wrestling with, I feel like I wrestle with those every day and I understand them. And I love that we have an organization that's trying to help each other, that's collaborative, that people share, that there's no, kind of snickering behind the scenes. I mean, I don't ever feel that. What I feel is a group of people who want to help each other get better, right? And grow and find a sustainable path. And I love that I can learn from ProPublica, but I can also learn from Nancy, Dylan, all of us, right? It's a really extraordinary opportunity. So, for me, joining is about me being passionate. It's also about, as Dylan said, giving back. I think this is what an opportunity to do that. And I think thirdly, I have a lot of experience in both the startup space, and all digital, also in print, dating back, and then most recently now in a new role as publisher of an organization that is, 2 years in, and a budget of about a little over 2 million, and at a place where I'm sitting actually in a potential donor's office right now, and where there's just so much interest in supporting us that I want to be able to take that learning and share it with our membership and really help drive, really help Sue and the rest of the board lead and grow this organization, and also try to change the conversation a bit among the funders. I feel like there's a kind of striving going on right now to find a long-term solution to funding all of us.
30 more seconds, Marcia.
So I feel like I've had a place at the table with the big funders for many years from my work and from the time that I was at Berkeley at the Graduate School of Journalism. I feel like now is a time I can really use my voice to help kind of advance our cause, and I really believe in that. So that's why I'm running, and I look forward to also meeting hopefully all of you at our upcoming INN conference too. So thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Marcia.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have Anne up next. Anne, I just muted you, so you just need to unmute yourself.
Am I unmuted now?
Yep. All right, go ahead and get started.
Okay, thank you. I'm Anne Galloway, the founder of VT Digger. We're a daily online nonprofit news organization based in Montpelier, Vermont. And when I started Digger in 2009, we had one volunteer, that was me, and we were able to raise about $15,000 that year. And since then, I've grown the organization to a $1.3 million operation with 18 employees. And our success in raising money wouldn't have been possible without INN. And that's because when I joined the organization in 2011, I was able to learn from other news organizations that had succeeded in developing membership programs and developing underwriting and developing ideas for reselling content through syndication. And so gradually over time, we have been able to develop each of these areas of revenue for VT Digger. And last year we were able to develop about $440,000 worth of memberships. And we did that through a very kind of complicated but campaign, but that ultimately really mostly attracted people online and through email and also through direct mail. And we have been successful in selling underwriting packages, and we now have 14 different media partners that work with us. And 2 of those media partners are traditional newspapers. We split the cost of those reporters on staff. And so now we're able to cover 4 counties in the state in addition to our core state government reporting. We have 5 reporters in the State House every year, and then in the off season, we are looking at what state agencies are up to. We place an awful lot of public records requests. We broke a huge story in 2014 that ultimately last year led to charges against 2 developers at a big ski resort here. They were charged with $200 million in misuse of funds. So in addition to our daily reporting, because we are a daily operation, we do pursue investigative reporting, and that's very much in our DNA. And so I'm explaining all this because I think that our organization, can be that we can contribute more to INN. As a board member, I've tried to share what we know about our market and how we've been able to develop revenues over time. And so I guess that's the most valuable thing about INN, is that we're in this together, as others have said. And we are trying to collaborate in a competitive environment. And ultimately, we're really trying to figure out how to make journalism work for the public at large. And we all know as professional journalists that it's a full-time job and we all need to be paid. And the difficult thing now is figuring out how to make that happen. And that's where I think INN has made strides and can do more to help individual news organizations get over the hump. We have a number of members that have made progress. Many, though, have kind of hit a plateau. And our intent as a board, INN, is to help people get over the hump and make more strides in the revenue generation realm. And we're doing that through a variety of strategies. We're trying to help people understand how to talk to donors. We're trying to help people develop successful membership programs.
30 more seconds,
Anne. Become more adept at trying experiments. And so I hope that you'll vote for me, because I have a real commitment to the field and what we're doing with INN, and hope to serve you in the coming couple of years. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Anne. Do we have any other candidates that are participating via phone, or I see someone just joined via iPad? Everyone's muted right now, so if you want to speak, you gotta unmute yourself.
That was Marcia switching to iPad. Sorry, I had to switch to
our outlet is going.
No worries. Okay, if we don't have any other candidates online, I'll open the floor for questions. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
Hi, Sue.
Bob Rivard in San Antonio, and I don't particularly have any questions. I just wanted to say I'm good.
Sorry, Bob, you're very quiet. Can you just get a little closer to your microphone?
Sure. This is Bob Rivard in San Antonio, and I don't have any particular questions. I just have a great appreciation for INN and all it's done for us since we turned nonprofit a couple of years ago. And
Hey, Bob, I'm sorry, it's Sue. I'm sorry to jump in, but I think there may be a problem with your microphone. We can just hear you as a very distant pinpoint of a voice, not loud enough to understand. So can you maybe play with the mic?
You can just write via chat. There's a chat button at the bottom of the screen if you want to write in your question.
I'm okay. Go ahead.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Did any of the candidates have questions for each other? Oh, Marcia, you're still muted.
I would like to ask Sue a question, just in terms of, I'd love to hear you just talk maybe for a minute, Sue, about the board sort of needs, the organization's needs in the marketplace now. Like, just what are you hoping to have from your, from the new board members? What do you need now the most?
Sue, you're still muted.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted now. Thanks for the question, Marcia. I think there are a number of things that actually would be a long list because we're doing a lot of things. But to cut to the bottom ones, I'll put it in terms of like the opportunities and challenges we have in the year ahead, and what the board is looking at. We are aiming to diversify our funding. INN has had core funding from, the handful of big foundations, but we've had that funding for, 5, 6 or more years, and we're in both a stable and very good financial place. We have 6 months reserves, but we have to diversify our funding. And so board members do help with that. It's not a fundraising board, but introductions to funders, introductions to potential major donors. We try to be very careful not to compete with our members in a negative way for funding, but we do seek funding that we try to multiply in return in the way of services. And so even elected members, while we understand they are fundraising for their own organizations, are incredibly important in making those connections and helping represent INN, and particularly in finding new sources of revenue from added funders and major donors. I think will be key in the coming years. And for those reasons, that will take a little more probably board attention than it has in the past, just because of where we are and where we want to grow. Second area, as many of you know, we have a really significant shared services and digital operations, so technology skills we are always looking to add to the board. And we have Reg Chua, who is one of the appointed directors, takes the lead in that now. We would like more from the elected directors in that area and in technology, because it's one where we continually have to make strategic course decisions. The elected members really represent the membership, and it varies. It swings from a few years ago, I understand it was almost all national players. Now it's all local publications. Local makes up about 25% of our membership, state about 30%, and then national, global, and some big regional topical ones are about the remaining 30-some%. So that's just to give you a sense of the overall mix of the membership now. As Sheila mentioned, the fastest growing segment of our membership is topic specific or specialty publications. And so that's an aspect we're looking at as well. So I think those are the key high points. You know, the other areas where I think we will ask the board to help guide us, we are doing a lot to try to build pipelines of diverse candidates who can build a stronger bench for a leadership succession in so many of our member organizations were started by people in mid-career. So about 10% of our members every year are in some stage of succession planning. And so that's another key area where we seek the board's input and what is needed and how can we really have impact. And the final area, I'd say just as a topical area, is one that many of you mentioned, advocacy. And we are doing more and will be doing even yet more to help you make the case for your part, individual members make the case for that they're part of this bigger movement and bigger trend toward nonprofit news and the impact it's having, and to lift that overall. I'm going to remute.
Do we have any more questions? Oh, go ahead, Marcia. Oh, you're muted again.
Oh, I was just going to comment real quickly to what Sue said. So, I mean, I do feel like the kind of network I have would be really valuable, and I want to be able to help crack the Silicon Valley opportunity. And I think that there is one there that we haven't quite got to yet that could really support, you know, not just us individually, but really INN as an organization. There's just growing interest. Just like last week, I had this very interesting conversation with Apple about this, and you know, I think there's a big opportunity here for us to really like seize these Silicon Valley people and say, get in here with us, right? Roll up your sleeves, not just money, technology, a million things that we need help with. Come and help us. And I think they're getting there now. So I'm excited about that. And I love, Sue, I love that idea about, I hadn't even really been thinking about sort of the developing the bench. I think that's really important. Dave and I were just having a conversation about how we're a little bit old and how are we bringing up the next group?
Would any of the other candidates like to respond?
I just want to know what Bob's question was so that we don't lose him. Can you type that in the chat box, Bob? If we couldn't really hear you at all.
I don't think Bob had a question. I think he just wanted to thank INN. But Bob, if you do have a question, you can email it to me. I have my email open. You can write it in the chat. I'm sorry that we couldn't quite hear you.
And we'll always take thanks. Thank you.
Any other questions for the candidates? Or, you know, we have about 20 minutes left in the hour. We don't have to use the whole hour, but if any of the candidates want to speak a little more, we have time for that. No. Bob said, I just wanted to hear everyone and say thanks to INN for all the help they've given us in our short time, less than 2 years, in parentheses. As a nonprofit, hope to see some or all of you in Phoenix. Thanks, Bob. Likewise. Well, if that's all.
It's going to be hot as hell in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So just be aware if you're coming in, if you're flying in Tuesday or Wednesday, it may be hot enough to actually close the airport. So be prepared for sitting around with delayed flights if it actually gets that hot. If it hits 120, again, like it did, it was a while back, about 20 years ago, they actually had to shut down the airport.
Wow. Awesome. Sue and I will be there on Monday.
Yeah, we're here all week. So yeah, if you want to get outside, go before dawn, right? Before the sun comes up. So I wanted to close by thanking all of you who are running. You know, the greatest thing about what I do is the membership. And to be honest, for everything we do as staff at INN, the greatest strength of INN is the membership, and it's the network, and it's the help you provide each other. So, and you know, to have this kind of turnout for the board, and I apologize, there's a helicopter going over. I appreciate the time and care people have taken to run, and that's so encouraging. And I now want to immediately enlarge the board so all of you can serve. But we do have broader opportunity, and I really thank you.
And if anyone had any questions for the candidates, they wanted to reach out to them directly, go ahead and email them. You can ask questions on the listserv. And don't forget that your votes are due by 4:30 p.m. Pacific time on June 22nd. So that's next week. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Great. Everyone have a good weekend. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.